Another year of another O'Reilly, how the youth helped woo Nashville's new signings, and why Emma and I want to move into Factor's place. It's a potpourri of topics on this Friday episode of the Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast, and thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off this hallelujah, it is Friday episode with a shout out to our Locked On Pred heads. Those are our everyday listeners who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us each and every day. We appreciate your support, and we love that we get to spend a little bit of your week with you. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer with Penalty Box Radio, and my friends, I have a partner in crime.
You do. I'm Emma Lingen, and I'm the Nashville Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News.
On today's show, Emma and I are bringing you what we lovingly call a potpourri of hockey topics. We're going to
love
cover
a good Friday
lot.
potpourri.
We do love I love a good potpourri just in general,
Yes.
but also a good hockey potpourri Friday. We want to talk about something that we didn't hit on specifically as we covered Brady, Skjei, Scott Wedgewood, and Steven Stamkos this week. We want to talk about how the youth factor into these signings. We also want to give you an exciting update that just came out from the Milwaukee Admirals yesterday. And my friends, it is Friday, and we have some big Friday feelings we want to talk about. But before we dive into all of that, want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, Emma, this week, you and I and a bunch of media from Nashville got to sit down and we got to chat with Steven Stamkos, Brady, Skjei, Scott Wedgewood. We are still waiting patiently for the live and in-person Jonathan Marchessault. And you can all kind of check out some of our earlier episodes this week, to get more specifics on what we heard from these guys. But there was one thing that I think kind of was buried in the conversations with these three players that I don't want us to overlook. And that is the fact that what Nashville has coming up in the pipeline also was a factor for these guys when making their decision that Nashville was where they wanted to be. And we especially heard it the other day with Brady, Skjei, and with Scott Wedgewood. So let me just play a real quick clip of what they had to say, and then Emma and I are going to discuss this.
No, I mean, that was a huge thing for me. With a team that I wanted to sign with was a team that's going to have success, and for years to come. I think you look at even before the signings on July 1st, the youth in this organization and the skill they have up here and even in the AHL and in the farm system, the team's going to be good for a while and make playoff runs in the future. And like I said, adding the guys that we did on July 1st just hopefully can speed that up pretty quickly. And I think it's going to be a very exciting few years here in Nashville.
You bring in pillar pieces like you had mentioned, you can't not be excited. And then obviously with the youth and the skill that this team's possessed, it's going to be fun to watch. I don't really wish to be a goalie against that power play with who we've added.
So I love that they just mention in passing, of course, we've talked about these big reasons why players want to sign in Nashville, but I love that they mention in passing what is coming up in Nashville. We've talked about like how important signing UC Saros was to wooing these guys here. We've talked about, the way that the team played last season made an impression on these guys to have them kind of see what's brewing in Nashville. We've got these elite goaltender, elite defensemen, elite forwards, and all of that. But there was a selling point for these players when it comes to what is in the pipeline. And I want to give a shout out to David Poile for that. Now, Barry Trotz, killing it last offseason, this offseason. But David Poile has built up in the scouting, the scouting group, such an impressive pipeline that these guys can come in and understand that this is a now and not yet scenario, which is a selling point for these players.
For sure. I mean, especially if you think of a guy like Brady Skjei, who is coming from Carolina, who was in a situation this past season where it was like, this was it. Like, this was kind of their last chance. Like, their window isn't really slamming shut per se. Like, they're still going to be a very good team, a very competitive team next year, but they were losing a lot, not just Brady Skjei, but a lot of key pieces in free
Yeah.
agency. You know, his defensive partner, Brett Pesce, is gone. They are going to have, you know, they're still, I think they're going to arbitration with Martin Necas now. And so it's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of kind of like, all right, this is it. Teuvo Teravainen also went back to
Yeah.
Chicago. So it's just like, he's coming from an organization where the window was starting to close to one where it's like wide open right now. And so that's got to feel good for him to be part of something. And, you know, you mentioned the pipeline, the prospects in Milwaukee. I mean, they just have an embarrassment of riches down there, you know, especially on defense. You know, Adam Wilsby just signed a 1-year contract yesterday. So it's going to be a really, really good situation for these new players to come in, because it's like they know that this team is playing to win now, but also it's like they're playing to win now, but there's not as much pressure like, oh dear God, you have to do it now.
Yes.
Otherwise we've missed our chance. Like, and I
Right.
think taking that pressure off a little bit has got to help mentally, I would think. And so I think that it's just a really good situation for them.
I think too with Brady Skjei, you look at that 7-year term, and I know people have big feelings about that 7-year term, but this is a player who, in theory, I think the plan is very seriously to keep him for that time. And he really becomes sort of that defensive pillar. You know, Roman Yossi contract through 2028. Roman Yossi, literally a machine. Who knows what he'll do after that. But Brady Skjei here till 2032, which literally seems like we should be having flying cars when I say that out loud. Is somebody born when I was? I'm like,
We should be wearing space suits by then or something, it sounds
100%.
like.
It's so strange to me. But, you know, this is somebody who he has signed with a team where not only can he win, like you said, you know, right now, but he's going to be such an important part in the future as well. And I think, you know, you look at the unique situation that Scott Wedgewood is in, you know, his role right now, I would say these are probably the most critical 2 years for the organization in net in franchise history. Because what Scott Wedgewood can do in these 2 years can help the Nashville Predators contend for a cup. It can also help prepare Yaroslav Askarov for a not yet run, because if Yaroslav Askarov wants to be the backup goaltender to UC Saros, he has to beat out an NHL goaltender. Scott Wedgewood. I mean, this is a guy who knows how to win in the NHL, so it's only going to make Yaroslav Askarov better. And I think Wedgewood is just so important to now and not yet as well because of the youth.
I agree. You know, there's the direct, like you mentioned, the direct connection there, the path from him to Askarov. But I would say more indirectly too. I've done, you know, a lot of reading about Scott Wedgewood, and I've talked to a lot of people who know him and have worked with him. And one thing that I heard a lot was when he was in Dallas, and part of this is, yes, obviously it's kind of the backup goaltender's job, but it seemed like he really took it upon himself and like really dedicated himself to this. But something that he did a lot in Dallas was he was putting in the work with younger players who were, you know, obviously like guys who would want to stay out, like Jason Robertson, for example, like would want to stay out, work on his shot, whatever, for extra hours on the ice. Scott Wedgewood was always out there helping those guys. And so I think that
Right.
that's going to be important when you have young guys coming up or trying to work on their game or trying to hone their skills a little bit, and you're going to want to have a guy. Again, it's kind of understood that the backup goalie will stay out there with whoever wants to work, but it's like it just, from everything I've been told, it seemed like Wedgewood went very above and beyond for these younger players to help them develop their game. Obviously, he was also kind of a mentor for Jake Ottinger as well, and Ottinger called him the best goalie partner he's ever had. And so I think that, just the way that he goes out of his way to help his teammates, and I have no reason to believe it won't be the same here in Nashville. I think it's, he is the right kind of player, the right kind of personality to have here with this team at its current makeup.
I love that. And of course, I know that these veterans are bringing a lot to these younger players. Like literally, I have visions of Steven Stamkos working with Joachim Kimmel in the circle on a one-timer because, oh my gosh, can you imagine being Joachim Kimmel? That's kind of his shot. That's sort of been his shot in Milwaukee, and to be able to practice that with a Steven Stamkos. I think of Zachary Leroux and Jonathan Marchessault. I mean, Jonathan Marchessault, high skill, high grit, high energy, but knows how to channel that in a way that benefits his team. Like this is it, they say it in one of the Star Wars movies. They talk about a symbiotic relationship, and I'm like, this is so what they're setting up in Nashville between the veterans on the team, the veterans they're bringing in, and the youth they have in the pipeline. It's a really exciting time to watch the Nashville Predators. And like you said, it doesn't feel like that door is going to slam shut anytime soon. So well done. Kudos to Barry Trotz and to David Poyle for setting us up for success. Coming up, there is other big news coming out of Milwaukee that we definitely want to talk about. We're going to tell you about a big deal that was announced yesterday. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you are into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, Emma. So, talking about some of these young players in Milwaukee, but let's talk about an elder statesman in Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Admirals announced yesterday that Cal O'Reilly has signed a one-year deal. He gonna be back, y'all. Cal O'Reilly back with the Milwaukee Admirals for the 2024-2025 season. Let's just talk about some Cal O'Reilly numbers because these numbers delight me. Cal O'Reilly, 37 years old, baby. 37 years old. Played 69 games last season with the Admirals, 10 goals, 20 assists. He is 12th all time in the AHL in games played. He has played 954 games. God willing, and the creek don't rise, as we say where I grew up. He will hit 1,000 AHL games this season. His career, he has 166 AHL goals, 568 assists. That makes him 6th all time in the AHL, 734 points. And of course, last season, he became the Milwaukee Admirals franchise leader in assists and points, which was such a huge moment for the franchise, for Cal O'Reilly as well. So we get more O'Reilly next season. We get the other auto parts, as I lovingly refer to him, Emma.
Yes, the elder The
Yeah.
elder O'Reilly. He's I mean, I think with all those numbers you said and where he is kind of on the all-time list in the AHL, I think that's what you call like a living legend in the AHL. I feel like that's kind of what we're dealing with here. And he does it so quietly and so humbly, and you just kind of see where Ryan gets it from. They're very humble guys. Again, in Ryan's case, sometimes to a fault, where he likes to blame himself for everything that goes wrong in a game. Even if he's not on the ice for it, somehow he's going to make it his fault. It's his fault because he wasn't on the ice. He should have been there. But yeah, no, I mean, it's great. It's going to be great leadership to have there. Talk about older veterans that these young guys can learn from. I mean, he's a perfect leader to have, especially with Roland McEwen heading out the door. That was one of your leaders on that team. It'll be good to have some more stability there, I think.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really huge and just delightful to see somebody continuing to do what they love at the level that Cal O'Reilly does it with. I would love, Emma, one of the guests that I would love to sit down with on this podcast is Mama O'Reilly, because I'm fascinated. First of all, I think that you cannot understate the way that Cal and Ryan go about their business. It really is exceptional. They are exceptional athletes, but they are exceptional human beings. And I don't know if she just lucked out, but I really think she worked hard. I think Mr. and Mrs. O'Reilly worked really hard. But you also look at their longevity and their skill set, and it's like, okay, is this genetic? How much of this is just really good genes? How much of this is like, how did they get this work ethic? What did she feed the boys growing up? Like, I'm amazed when you look at their careers, just what they've accomplished.
Yeah, I think the work ethic piece is huge, because that's not something that you can necessarily teach or coach. It's something that's innate to you, and it's something that I think your childhood or that it'll have a lot to do with it. And I think you see it in both of them. I mean, they're just workhorses. And they are machines that tend not to break. They are the machine, but don't show your small children that.
To Cal or Ryan, but that is where the machine stops. Oh my gosh, it was so bad, y'all. And when we say that, like, work ethic, truly, like, not exaggerating, Emma and I both have been at practices. We have been at morning skates. We have been at optional skates. And if you have a question for Ryan O'Reilly, you get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he spent a lot of time in that stinky locker room waiting for Ryan O'Reilly to get off the ice.
And just watching these guys not put the jerseys in the put it in the hamper, but that's a whole nother rant for another day.
We're walking around there clean, picking up after these guys like they're our sons. Like,
just like put it all, just throw it in the hamper. Nobody wants.
If I'm going to be standing there for 20 minutes waiting for Ryan O'Reilly, I want to make myself useful. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go tidy up here while we wait for him.
That's right. But he really, and the other thing is, he's not lollygagging. Like, Ryan O'Reilly is so focused. He goes out, he knows exactly what he needs to do. He knows how many reps he wants to get in, but he is always working. Their work ethic, the O'Reilly's work ethic, is just, it is something to behold. Speaking of Ryan O'Reilly, Emma and I would like to move, and we would like you all to donate $8 million to get us there. Okay.
Just $8 million.
Just $8 million, if you could. Because in case you didn't see it, there was an Instagram reel. I'm actually not going to tell you who tweeted it out, because sometimes they tweet out things and don't credit other people. So we'll just say it was an Instagram reel. Yeah. Ryan O'Reilly is selling his house on Lake Huron, and Emma and I want it. Oh my gosh, Emma.
Minka wants it. You see, she's like, oh yeah, Give me that yard. Give me that
Yes. The
space to play in.
880 feet of beachfront property on Lake Huron. Minka wants to play in Lake Huron.
Yeah.
And this house,
Please.
it is incredible. What was your favorite part of this reel selling Ryan O'Reilly's house in Ontario?
Oh,
Did
that's hard to pick. I would say it's a tie between the indoor rink, the
Come on.
hockey rink, and the closet.
Oh
Do you
my
see
gosh, the
that walk-in
closet!
closet? Oh my god.
Literally, I was like,
It's like the size of my apartment. Like, give
why
me
would
that.
his wife allow him to sell this house?
I know. I just want just a couple $8 million. Just a couple more subscribers to the insider program, and we would be
We are
there.
right there. We are right there. Oh my gosh, I loved the ensuite bathroom because you
Oh, yeah.
walk in it and it's all windows facing
Yes.
Lake Huron,
Yes.
which is there's not neighbors, so it's a good thing. But it's floor to ceiling windows, so you can like shower in this shower room
Yes.
and look at Lake Huron. But I have to tell you, my favorite thing was in the giant home gym with every machine you could imagine. The
Yes.
floor, did you see the mat on the floor had the number 90 on it?
No, I missed
Huge
that.
number 90 on the gym floor. And I thought, do you know something, Emma? I would work out 10 times harder if I had my name on the gym mat on my office floor.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
saying.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even catch that detail, but
Mm.
the gym had me like, yeah, I want
It
that.
was amazing. And the gym has its own shower and changing
Yes.
room.
Yes.
Now,
I'm
here's
like,
the problem. Nobody would ever find those dirty clothes and it would stink up the whole
yes.
6-bedroom house. But yeah. So anyway, if anybody feels compelled to buy Emma and I a working house, like a house for work.
We promise that we will podcast from there when we'll do episodes from every room, including the closet,
Oh.
and the gym, and we will bring you the content that you didn't know you needed. But yes, please donate $8 million so we can
$8
buy that
million.
house.
Yeah. We'll retweet out the reel so that you can see it. But anyway, Emma and I, if one day Locked On Predators has disappeared, sorry friends, we're at Lake Huron living in Factor's old house.
We're
Coming
locked on
up,
Lake Huron.
Locked On Lake Huron, baby. Coming up, Emma and I have some really, really big Friday feelings, and friends, we are feeling good. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Look, if you are hoping to find something fun to do this weekend, I am telling you right now, you need to download the Game Time app. With killer last minute deals, all in pricing, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Friends, tonight at Bridgestone Arena, Alabama is playing. And if you like old country, it does not get better than Alabama. And there are great deals on tickets right now on the Game Time app. Buying tickets for concerts, sporting events, comedy, theater, and more. It is safe. It is easy with Game Time. Their all-in pricing tells you the cost up front, so you are not surprised with hidden fees at checkout. And you're going to get a view from your seat so you know exactly what you'll be seeing when you arrive. Plus, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Emma, it is Friday, and we like to wrap up Friday with our big Friday feelings. And there have been some Fridays where we have been, annoyed or frustrated or discouraged or, oh, not today, Satan. Not today, Satan. Big Friday feeling is brought to you by the NHL Network's tweet yesterday. that said the Nashville Predators projected top power play unit has gotten some juice this offseason with pictures of Roman Josi, Steven Stamkos, Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, and Jonathan Marchessault. Y'all, that power play has me feeling some kind of way.
That is, ooh, that just gets me excited. The other day, I said I was giddy about Steven Stamkos on the power play. Now, just looking at that, I'm like, this is going to be so fun. I am so excited.
It will be the first time in a long time that I think people in Bridgestone Arena and watching a Nashville Predators game are going to be like, high stick someone, high stick someone, high stick someone. Come on, we want to see this power play. Not Roman Josi. Don't, not Roman Josi, but high stick someone else. And if they draw blood, all the better. Can you imagine 4 minutes of that? I went and looked just for fun, like, okay, like how many power play goals is that? Roman Josi had 9 last season. Stamkos, 19. He was busy. Philip Forsberg had 13. Ryan O'Reilly, 14. And Jonathan Marchessault, 8. Y'all, we added 27 power play goals to the first power play unit. 27 power play goals.
That is beautiful. It's going to be the first time, like you said, you're going to be rooting, like high stick someone. It's going to be the first time in 2 years, I think, when the Preds go on the power play that I'm not like holding my breath. And I'm like, oh God, just don't let them get a shorty. Don't let them get a shorty. It's like, oh, it's going to be so great.
I cannot even begin to imagine what we could potentially see on the power play. It is going to be ridiculous. And what I think is also very cool about it is if somehow, some way, those 5 don't score on the power play, I think it's going to be an interesting second power play unit too, because remember, you've got Brady Skjei, who's got power play experience. You've got Luke Evangelista. You've got Tommy Novak. You've got Cody Glass, who I'm all about. Stick him in front of the net on the power play. And then, you can slot someone else in there.
Gus Nyquist in there too.
Oh, I forgot about Gus Nyquist. He is money. Mm-hmm. You all. Look, here's what's real. I always say there are no snacks in the sin bin because I can't stand when the team takes dumb penalties, but I may actually put snacks in the opposing team's sin bin.
Anne's gonna get there early and be tossing like bags of gummy bears over the glass or something. Like, what? Oh, sorry. Whoops.
Oh, excuse me. Homemade cookies. I'm sorry. Pardon me. I want to see some slashes, y'all. I want to see some high stick. I mean, trip someone for the love of God.
But don't hit Roman Josi in the face, or I will hit you in the face. That's how that works.
Oh, yeah. 100%. There are a couple things that are off limits. Roman Josi's face, off limits. But yeah, there are a lot of exciting things when you look ahead for the Nashville Predators. We've talked about, short term and long term earlier in this episode, but this power play has us feeling all kinds of ways. So thank you, NHL Network, for we've known about it, we've kind of touched on it, but when you see it, like you see their pictures, and they were all in gold, which looks great. Yeah, I just can't wait for somebody go ahead and trip someone, or,
Yeah, it kind of made it real seeing the visual like that. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, oh, just I'll have what she's having.
Yes. No, please, more of this. Oh, yeah.
It will be nice that other teams will have to be mindful of Nashville's power play. And I don't think
what a concept.
Yeah, we're gonna be one of those teams, and who would have thunk it? So look, great week this week with Locked On Predators. Again, heard from Steven Stamkos, from Scott Wedgewood, from Brady Skjei. Go back and check out those episodes from earlier in the week if you missed those. Of course, you can find us on social media at LO_Predators. Also, If you want to continue the conversation beyond the podcast, you are welcome to join our Locked On Predators Insider program via subtext. You can text Emma and I questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, anything you want, really. We're open to talking about the weather. Via subtext, you can join our insider program. There's information in our video description and also in our bio. Before we head out for the weekend, though, Emma, let everyone know where they can find you and your work.
Well, first, I would also just like to reiterate that all proceeds from said insider program are going directly to the Anne and Emma Need to Buy Factors House Fund.
Yes.
So
Locked
just
On
know
League
that,
you're on.
yeah, just know that your money is going to a good cause. And you can find me on social media at Emma_Lingen, and you can find my work online at the Hockey News.
And you can find my work online with Penalty Box Radio. You can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. That is going to do it for this week's episodes of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We hope you all have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you on Monday.